everyone, welcome to Sparkle One. So this is the video on unwinding. This video would also be released in our YouTube channel because we need to show that this is the ability and this is the quality of the Sparkle One course, and it is priced very genuinely only at 1,000 rupees. So if you like this video and if you want access to this Excel sheet so that you can manipulate, and if you like the quality and the depth that I have covered here, then please go and buy the Sparkle One course, right? And you can easily go to the description, and there would be a link not for Sparkle One for our website, but you can go there and go to the actual higher papers in the courses section, and you can find this course, right? Also, if you follow our LinkedIn page, you will get to know when it is released. It will be released today at some point of time. So today is 31st of March 2024. It will be released at some point of time, but I mean, I don't know the exact time. That depends on my team when they find the exact time for release, right? So that is you can follow that, and follow that page, our LinkedIn page, and then you get to know when it is releasing, right? But the main point of this video and releasing this video on YouTube is also the fact that very few people can actually do a calculation like this. I can do this calculation because I have always asked this question why, and how I can check that in Excel, how I can kind of complement my theoretical understanding by doing a calculation, mathematical calculation, so that my overall understanding, seeing the bigger picture, everything improves. And this is what you need to do to be a proper actuary and not be limited to a paper actuary. There will be many qualified actuaries who would not be able to do this calculation on their own, right? So that's why it is very, very important that you reach that level. For me, this is very easy. This is a piece of cake. I can do this calculation in 5 minutes. I can complete such Excel model in 5 minutes. So in order for you to reach that level, you need to ask that question why, and then you need to do this calculation on your own. So that's why this course is very, very important. In fact, our other course, the actual inner engineering, that is probably the best course we have. We did not get that response in that, in that probably people did not understood this. But I hope that going through Sparkle on, because it is priced more, maybe better or cheaper, so people can understand this is the quality that we bring to unconventional courses. Because paper everyone can create, right? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry can clear a paper. The actual knowledge that is required to succeed in this industry is this sort of knowledge. If you do not have this knowledge, then unfortunately clearing papers will not help you. And I have said that time and again. Now it's up to you to believe me or not, right? And it's up to your mindset to take whatever direction you want to take, because I can't force you, I can only tell you, right? So without wasting any further time, let us come back to this example. So here we have made some simplified example for the ease of calculation. So this is called premium is zero, expense is zero. We are only assuming benefit which will be paid on 31st of December 2022, assuming that today is 31st of December 2022. Mortality is zero, lapse is zero, so there is no decrement applicable. So unwinding is a concept that is related with discount, right? And that's why this would be in the discounting section. So that unwinding basically means untangling a knot, right? Now, untangling a knot in English, but for us, it is something different, right? So here we are assuming that, like, right now we are standing on 31st December 2022. Now, when this kind of year started, right? So on 31st December 2021, we assumed the initial rate would be like 5% rate would be applicable throughout the year. Throughout the year, it would be 5%. But actually, what happened, for some reason, maybe because of quantitative tightening, on 36th June or 30th of June 2022, it changed to 7%, right? And that's where the trick is. How we have to understand how much interest is being released, right? From, or how much of the interest it has accumulated, and how much interest it started, like from where it started and from where it ended, and how much interest it has accumulated, right? So this is what we need to kind of calculate, and we need to understand what is going on here, right? So initially our calculation will start at, we'll try to calculate the present value at 5%. Then we'll try to calculate the, combine this two, kind of this two interest rate, and then we'll see something which usually people will do, and that will be the wrong calculation. Then also what will be the right calculation, and we'll also try to check if what we have calculated is correct or not, right? So here I have, this is the day, or this is the time when we are going to get the the benefit, and we're expected to get the benefit at the end of the day, right? Because that's how our assumption usually is, and that's why we are kind of discounting it back, right? So on first of from 31st of December 2022, we're discounting it to 1st of December 2022, and then from 1st of December 2022, we're discounting it to 1st of November 2022, and in that way we are continuing till 1st of June, 1st of Jan 2022, right? So if you see this, the first one where it is written as PV at 5%. So what I have done is I have written 13 here, and because this here that 1,000 benefit will be discounted 12 times, right? Because 12 months. So this 5% is then converted into a monthly rate. I hope you know the calculation of monthly rate, right? So this by 1 by 12 minus 1. So this is the monthly rate, and that monthly rate is being used 12 times to discount 1,000. So I think since you have already seen the video on discounting, how discounting works, I think you were able to understand and relate that, right? For those who are seeing this in YouTube channel, once again, if you have difficulty in understanding how discounting works, once again, Sparkle One is the answer for that. Because for Sparkle One student, this would be the third or fourth video where they have seen some calculation already on discounting, so they would understand, and I hope that everything would be clear to them. So here 12 months of discounting is applicable. That's why this monthly rate discounting is used 0.41, and so this 1,000, right, is getting discounted 12 times, and I have put the 12 here so that you can do the Excel modeling, and along with this you can also learn some bit of Excel modeling here as well, right? Because that this is how exactly an actual software also works. Now here obviously it will be discounted 11 times, right? So the here we have assumed consistent rate of 5%. This is what we expected, right? This is what we expected at the start, that the discounting, the rate would be 5%, but then it actually got slightly better. The rate became 7%, right? So in this way, if you reach to this level, so what is the amount of interest that you have kind of garnered over time, right? So if you see this, the first two figures in the bracket, that is S6 minus S6. S6 is this one. So from 1st of Jan to 1st of December, how much interest you have kind of captured, that is given by this. And then 1 month interest is still left, which is to the 31st of December. From 31st of December to the 1st of kind of 1st of December, right? 31st of December to 1st of December. 31st of December, the amount would be 1,000. So you are also capturing some interest there, right? So that's why this interest that you are capturing is coming out to be 47.62. So it started from here, it went till here, and then there is also some further interest because you are ultimately reaching that 1,000 level, right? So you are reaching that 1,000 level. So that's why you are getting 47.62. So without any change in interest, I think this is very, very clear. Now, when the change in interest happens, right, and if you apply similar logic, then you will come at a wrong conclusion. And this is kind of given here. So when the change of interest happens, so here in this case, for the month of December, the 7% interest is applicable because it is applicable from up 30th June onwards, right? So only 7%. So this in this case, it is getting it is calculating it by dividing it by once, right? So it's the discounting is happening only once here, the discounting happening twice, right? So in this way it is calculating it till this point of time, the calculation is correct. But then here so you can see here it is D10 means this one, right? The monthly rate which is applicable for 7%. So from June to December, 7% rate is applicable, we convert it into monthly, and the discounting is happening at that rate, as simple as that. But here what we have assumed based on the previous thought process, that the discounting will happen at 5%. Now this is incorrect calculation. Why this is incorrect calculation? Think about that and we'll come to that. This is incorrect calculation, right? So and when you come to this level, once again you are coming to 952, which is this same number. And once again when you see the release of interest rate, it is once again coming out to be now, and now not explaining the formula is same, it's still 47.62, right? The formula is almost similar. I mean the result that is coming out is almost similar, but you expect something more, right? Because you have captured 7 from 5%, it has gone to 7%. So you can intuitively you can understand something has gone wrong, but at this point of time you don't know what is going wrong. And this is where the blue dragon universe comes into picture, where this sort of intuitive mistakes can be corrected and you can see what is going on numerically, right? Now, in order to understand what has gone wrong, right, we need to apply a different method, and which is also the method which is kind of used in the actual software. So what we need to do here is, here we started with that 7% because we know that from June to December the 7% monthly rate is applicable, and we have converted into monthly rate, so we are using that. So first we calculated this, discounted this, and we got this number. Then again, now instead of using a cumulative discount rate, instead of using this number, right, this row 3 number, what we are doing is we are not discounting this in that manner. Like instead of using one time discounting or two time discounting, we are discounting actually this number, that is 994. So if you see this calculation, this is using S8, which is this number, right? And then that is getting discounted with that 7% or 0.57 discount rate, right? In this way, it continues till here, in which case it is using this discount rate. But from the moment it comes here, right? Because from 30th June, the discount rate that is applicable was 7%. But from 1st of Jan to 30th of June, the discount rate that is applicable is 5%, right? So here we'll switch. And that is why you see this, this area is marked in a different color. So here the switch happens. So from 10% or from 7%, right, we move to 5%, or the monthly equivalent of 5%, right? So here we are moving to 5%. You can see that from 961, here we are using D10. Now in this case, we are using D9, and we have stopped using this number because we are not kind of using the cumulative discounting, but we are discounting the number in that is present in the the month, like the previous month, or in not the previous month, the hence month, right? The coming month, right? So obviously, this is a recursive calculation, like we are kind of, and this is how actual software also works, right? So this is a recursive calculation started from here, then we are going back and we are coming to this number. Now, when we reach this number 942, right? So now we are getting an release of interest or unwind, which is 58, which is as per our expectation higher than 47.62. So this means that this calculation is correct, which I have kind of written. This is wrong calculation. This is the right calculation, right? But we, as an actual student, we need to check it somehow, right? Because I don't know which is correct, which is this, if this is correct or that is correct. And also, it's a requirement of CP2. If you have written CP2, by the way, you can also register for our CP2 course, right? No matter what time, CP2 just takes 1.5 hours, and this is the way I have explained everything in CP2, right? So through Excel models, and there are a couple of question paper that I've solved, so you can register for that. Yeah, coming back to this. Now, first we wanted to check if we follow this same method, like the recursive discounting method, would this 5% thing work? And we did the same thing, and we assumed the consistent rate of 5%, which shows that yeah, we reach the same level of 952. It's 952 here, 952 here, and we also get the same discount. I mean, same unwind. So that is quite understandable. If these numbers are same, then we are going to get the same unwind, right? So this means the recursive discounting is working perfectly. It is the better method. So instead of using the cumulative discounting, we should use the recursive discounting, right? That is one thing that we can draw the conclusion, but we still need to check if what we have done is correct or not, right? In order to check that, you are starting, and here also the concept of unwind will become clear to you. So what does unwind means? Unwind means that the difference between this reserve and this reserve, because nothing is changing, right? Because we have assumed premium is also consistent, premium is zero, expense is zero. If something changes, then it is not unwind. Like if your premium or your expense assumption changes, so modality assumption changes, then it is unwind plus the change in that assumption. That is why we have made everything consistent, right? It's only the interest rate that is changing, and the effect that you are getting in the reserve is because of the change in interest rate or change in discounting. That is why it is called unwind. Only when the impact change is because of interest rate or discount rate, right? Then only it is called unwind, right? Otherwise, it is unwind plus something else, right? If the modality also changes, then it is unwind plus something else. In this case, nothing is changing, right? So this is unwind. Now, how to understand unwind? So first we are calculating the difference. If we just press F2, so we are calculating the difference between this and this, right? This and this. So this is the exact unwind for this month, right? From Jan to Feb. This is the unwind for this month, and that should be equal to the the monthly interest rate that we have account, because that is the concept of unwind, right? The interest that is released just because of the change in the interest, just because of the change in the interest rate, right? So in this case, the starting figure is 952. 952 into 0.41 should be equal. So this minus this, 952 minus 956 minus 952 should be equal to 952 into 0.41, which is exactly what we have done. And if you see this, we are getting 0.00. Same concept applies here, right? So 960 minus 960 minus 956, and that should be equal to 956, right? 956, which is the previous month figure, into 0.41, right? So in that way, we have checked, and assuming that the interest rate stays consistent at 5%, we have got a perfect zero, which shows that this method is working fine, right? Now we need to check for the scenario one where the rate is changing to 7%, right? So here initially we are doing the same thing, 956 minus 952, that should be equal to the previous month into the discount rate. The change happens here, right? The change happens here. So here you can see what we are doing. So here the previous month, which is this one, 961, the previous month figure should be multiplied with 0.57, not with 0.41, because here there is a change in the interest rate, right? The interest rate changes from 5%. So in the previous scenario, we have assumed the interest rate to stay consistent at 5%. Here the change happens, and once again we are seeing this, right? So if you use this number instead of this number, if you use this row, right? If you use this row, then this would never be zero. You will instantly understand that you have done some erroneous calculation, right? But because we are using this number row, which is the correct calculation, which is the recursive way of discounting, and that is what actual software also uses, because we have used that recursive discounting instead of cumulative discounting, this is matching perfectly, right? Now see this zero, and finally the result is coming out to be zero. So we have understood the calculation of unwind, we have understood the checking of unwind, and we are able to see the bigger picture. So now if someone tells you what is unwind, right, you can go back to this Excel file and you can manipulate it in whatever manner. Now to get access to this Excel file, you need to purchase Sparkle One, that is for sure, right? But I hope the concept is clear. It is like, because of the discounting effect, the reserve would be slowly, the reserve would be released, right? And that is what is the concept of unwinding. The reserve would be released very at some pace, right? And that is the concept of unwinding. And you can check that the release in reserve is only happening because of interest rate in this manner. If the release in reserve is happening because of the interest rate, then it is called unwind. No other factor can be there, right? Like mortality cannot be there, lapse cannot be there. So if the release in reserve is happening because of the interest rate, then that is what you are expecting, right? So discounting would slowly, as more and more time passes, the discounting would be lower, right? And some amount of reserve would be released. So that is what is the concept of unwind. Basically, the interest that you gain on the previous month reserve or previous valuation date reserve. So that is the concept of unwind, which we have checked, and we have done that calculation, and we have verified that calculation, right? So with that, we come to the end of this video. For the YouTube channel audience, please like, share, subscribe, and consider purchasing Sparkle One. And for the Sparkle One student, continue with the flow, right? I hope you are enjoying the course. And for any feedback, anything, you can write to us in admin@bluedragonuniverse.in, or you can visit the contact us section of your website, the same the email ID will be given. Also, please do write positive feedback. If you feel this course is great, please do write those positive feedback. That will help us, and that will also show that our effort is gaining fruits, right? So we'll wait for those. Yeah, see you in future videos.